Alright, we should be live, and we're back. We're working on Omo, Queen of Vesuva. So here she is in case you haven't seen her yet. And we finished on Tempest last time, which means alphabetically we are on all of the sets. So we start with the Brothers War, because that's how Gatherer do. And I'm not expecting much from Brothers War because I don't think the Power Stones work on Eldrazi spells. I think they're only for casting artifacts. I have to find one of them first, though. Reread the thing. Can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Yep, okay. So, technically still fine if I'm ramping, since I tend to ramp with a lot of artifact spells, and we can also use them for things like untapping Mana Vault and Mana, or Grim Monolith rather, not Mana Crypt, Mana Vault and Grim Monolith, but probably don't need them. Non-creature artifact becomes a 4/4. No. Lets me cast an instant or sorcery with mana value less than its power. Less than or equal to. Still not quite good enough. There's no real value to me for milling all the cards, I don't think. Plus, we have at least the two Eldrazi Titans that will shuffle my graveyard back in, so if there was, I kind of have anti-synergy there. Argothian Opportunist, no. Sprite, can't run any of these because they have off-color activations. Audacity. Creatures you control have tap, add colorless. This mana can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell. Or if you cast an artifact spell with mana value 6 or greater, draw a card. Don't think so. I don't think we need Awaken the Woods either. Alright, so they have all land types, but not all. Each non-land creature is every creature type. So they will have every land type if I put them on the Dryads, but not every creature type. Yeah, I don't think so. Don't really need Blast Zone. Also, we picked that up in War of the Spark anyway, where it debuted. Boulder Branch Golem, no. 4 cards, no. Bushwhack. Do want the Cityscape Leveler as a pseudo Eldrazi in that it has a cast trigger that blows stuff up and has a high colorless mana cost. And also an attack trigger that blows stuff up. Granted, this one leaves our opponent with a consolation permanent in that they get a Power Stone, which can be a thing. It's an 8 mana. Oops, 8 mana. Construct. 8/8. Still usually way worse than the thing that we took away from them. The fact that we are giving them something does mean that certain decks won't be hurt as bad. Like, if they're an artifact heavy deck, blowing up their lands doesn't super matter because we're giving them the token, so we have to do something about the Power Stones, letting them still cast all their spells anyway. But for the most part, we're just taking away very real permanents and leaving them with a very minor consolation. So, don't need the Courier. Cradle Clear Cutter, no. Curate. Counter target artifact spell or counter target activator triggered ability. Think so. Collision Field, Depth Charge Colossus. No. Return target artifact you control to owner's hand. Or 3 tap, copy target artifact spell you control. Alright, I'm always down for copying artifact spells I control, but I don't think we need that. Like, I'm always down for it because usually I'm casting mana rocks that will ramp me, so copying them means that I will have even more mana, and because I'm using artifacts to ramp with, I usually have the extra mana to copy a cheaper ramp artifact with. So yeah, I'm usually down for that, but I don't really think we need that. I don't need Fade from History. Excavation. No. Top 5 cards of your library reveal any number of artifact cards. Put the real cards into your hand. Rest on the bottom. Nope. Don't. Forcer. Gift. Beginning of your end step, create a tap Power Stone. 6 draw card, put a 1/1 counter on Enthusiast. Nope. That's from like the special Jumpstart subset, right? I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of glad they stopped doing those. I'm glad they stopped doing those and they stopped doing the extra commander cards in the because they would be in the set boosters. I'm kind of glad both of those stopped because that just meant there were more cards I absolutely had to buy individually because I was never going to open them. Just super obnoxious. Tap, add 2 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only cast creature spells or activate abilities of creature sources. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 5 or greater, put a 1/1 counter on her and untap her. I don't think so. Don't need Hall of Tagson. Think I need Haywire Might. Like, it's fine. There's always targets for it, but and exiling them is usually better. Dies, put up to 1 other target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. No. Don't need Hulking Metamorph. Give your end step if you cast a non-creature spell. Yeah, probably don't need that. Iron Crawl Crusher, plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is its power. And it has Prototype. I think so. Keeper, Rock, Adept, a Levitating Statue, Liberator. I think it's a tiny bit tempting because I can cast the Eldrazi at instant speed, but I don't think so. Jade Crafter, no. The Mine Tower and Power Plant creatures. The Foundry. Research Desk. I think I need one with the multiverse. I was about to say one with nothing, and we definitely don't need that, nor could we run it, but I don't think we need one with the multiverse either. Perimeter Patrol. It's a tiny bit tempting because we do get to cast things, and they are for free once per turn. On our turn. Like, it's an okay thing to ramp into. Do I want one with the multiverse, actually? Okay, maybe. Maybe I want to ramp into this thing and find Eldrazi on top of my deck. The multiverse. 6 blue enchant. actually less blue to cast than Future Sight, and we can ramp into it, and I still run all the deck manipulation that I normally do, especially top, so... Yeah, okay, fine. I'm talking myself into it. We'll at least, put it on the list and see if I want to run it by the time we get to the end. You may play lands from your graveyard. It's a 5-drop 2/7. Yeah, I like the other ones we have better. I think I'd even be slightly more inclined to run the Surveillance or whatever it's called. The one from Murders at Karlov Manor. Can't run the Dispenser. As long as we're ramping into huge, expensive things, do I want Portal to Phyrexia? The downside to it is that two of our Titans shuffle our graveyard back in, but that's 2 cards, and it's not like killing 3 of our opponent's creatures. It's each opponent loses 3 creatures, yeah. So... Also, it's from a graveyard, so even if I shuffle mine back in, might be able to steal good stuff from the other players. Yeah, as long as we're ramping all of this mana. I honestly don't know if we're doing anything with any of these. This might be because I turned on the stream and I'm not thinking about all of the stuff that we've already added. I'm just thinking about ramping into Giant Eldrazi. As opposed, we haven't seen any Creature Type Matters cards, though. And if we did, I glossed over them entirely. But I don't think we missed any of them, so... Makes the XX Golem token. Yeah, don't need those. Don't need Rust Golem. Steel Seeker. Enters the battlefield on your control. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, reveal it and put it in your hand. If you don't put it into your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. Think so. Scatter Ray. Can't run any of those. Shoot down. The Simulacrum. Tap 3 untapped soldiers you control, draw a card. When attacks, create a soldier token. So this is worse than a zombie, but it's also way cheaper than a zombie, and way less blue intensive. Alright, it's not way cheaper, it's 2 mana cheaper, but both of those mana are blue. Seems like a reasonable way to draw a card every turn cycle that I'm not attacking with everything, so maybe. It's 2 and a blue for a human soldier. 2/3. Human. Sure. There we go. All better. Or another non-token artifact you control is put into a graveyard. Make a stone. No. Don't need Spectrum Sentinel, I don't think. Putting the Power Stone. Orthopter. Don't think so. Steel Exemplar. No. Stern Lesson. Retrieval Unit. Dies, add 8 colorless mana until end of turn. You don't lose this mana. Steps and phases end. Think so. Loses defender, gains this creature can't be blocked, becomes blue and has base power and toughness 5/4. Draw 3 cards, activate only if it's blue and only once. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't need Taunos. Swift Gear Drake, no. Symmetry Matrix, no. Take Flight, no. Tinkering, Teething Wormlet. The Fairy Temporal Pilgrim. Draw a card, put a loyalty counter on him. 0, draw a card. -2, make a 2/2 that grows when I draw cards. Chooses a permanent they control and returns it to owner's hand, then they shuffle each non-land permanent they control into owner's library. Don't need the Mindbreaker. Don't need the Mightstone and Weakstone. Stasis Coffin, the Temporal Anchor, Stone Brain, Thopter Mechanic. Whenever one or more lands are put into your graveyard from anywhere, gain 2 life. If there are 4 more land cards, she fuses. Yeah, I don't think so. Six mana would get me any 2 lands I want from my deck, and then either make 2 2/2s, exile a graveyard, and gain life, or put 2/1/1 counters on each creature I control. I don't think I actually want command, but I have been adding everything else to the list that can do this, so including a few other cards that are a bit too expensive. We will continue the trend, I think. Then we will figure out which ones I actually want to run. Because it's 1 more mana than, what's its name? Hour of Promise. And it still makes 2 2/2s for me, like, at all points in time, or puts counters on all my guys, so it's not unplayable, it's just very unlikely to actually make the final deck. I don't need Tower Worker, can't run Transmogrant Crown. 1 tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever you discard 1 or more artifact cards, create a tap Power Stone. No. Creatures you don't control get -2 power, create a tap Power Stone. Create a tapped 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token. Scry 1, then draw a card. No. Full Harvest. Zone Subjugation. Or Mando. Woodcaller Automaton. If you cast it, untap target land you control, it becomes a tree folk with haste. It's still land. Nope. The Ocean Frontliner, nor could we run him. And Zephyr Sentinel. Alright, so that was the Brothers' War. On to its commander deck. Check the 2 mono blue transformers, I think, because there are no blue green ones and there are no mono green ones. Thing. Don't want Taunos because he's got white and black in his activation. Do we want the Purifier? How many things do I have that actually search basic land specifically? Right now we have, I believe, Rampant Growth, Cultivate, and Kodama's Reach. So I think those are the only 3 that would interact with this thing. Like, everything else searches for a card with a specific basic land type, or specifically not a basic land type in the case of Farseek. Actually, that's not true. It still searches for basic land types, it just searches for the other 3, or the other 4 rather, instead of the forest. Yeah, I don't think I have enough things that search for basic lands. I guess we will add it to the list and double check when we're done. So this is the Brothers War commander. Alright, Sage of the Maze is way more recent. After Dominaria, though. So, Root Path, Purifier is 3 and a green, Elf Druid, 3/4. Yeah, we'll add it to the list and then we'll figure out if we actually have enough for it later on. And whenever creature attacks, create a 1/1 green forest dried land creature token. The problem is our commander really has to be rolling for this to actually work. Oh, Workshop on the other hand. Yeah. Yeah, tap add colorless for each Urza's land I control. Yeah. That one's gonna get out of hand. Urza's Workshop. Glint Breaker. +X/+O. Highest mana value among artifacts you control. Deals combat damage to a player. You may reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put an artifact card, and the rest in the graveyard. Choose target artifact creature you control. For each creature chosen this way, create a token that's a copy of it. Overload blue and 6. Think so. With 6/1/1 counters on it, remove a 1/1 counter from it, put a flying counter on another target creature, remove a counter from another target creature, put a 1/1 counter on Hexavius. Nope. Enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature, except it's an artifact and has tap add blue. Think so. Scavenge Brawler. Sacrifice another artifact, top 8 cards of your library, put 2 non-creature artifacts. Wondrous Crucible, probably not. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Still not worth it, I don't think, but definitely a lot scarier in this deck than some of the other ones. Alright, so that was the Brothers War. Commander. Brothers War Transformer cards. Like I said, I think it's 1 or 2 mono blue creatures. It is 1. It is only Jetfire. Alright. Flying, remove 1 or more 1/1 counters from among artifacts you control. Target player adds that much colorless. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Flip them over. 3 blue, adapt them 3, and then flip them over. Yep. Or technically you flip them over, then adapt 3. So, nope. So, on to the dark. Don't think so with Amnesia. Don't need Apprentice Wizard. Arl's Cage, Book of Wrath, Dance of the Many, Dark Sphere. No. 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 Don't need Felwar Stone. Gaia's Touch, Hidden Path, Land Leeches, Leviathan. Cast a spell, counter unless you sacrifice a land. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a land. When there are no more lands on the battlefield, sacrifice Mana Vortex. Destroy target creature with Island Walk. That one's kind of funny if we run the Lord of Atlantis and we start putting the counters on our opponent's things. We'll be able to Merfolk Assassin them, since they become Merfolk in addition to their other creature types, and then killing them because they gained Island Walk would be funny, but I don't think that's good. Discard up to 3 cards. Oh right, it's Mind Bomb. Didn't register the artwork there for a second with the little brain in the explosive shell. Ah, that was such a terrible card. Propolis, Nile Sylvan, People of the Woods, Psychic Allergy. X is the number of non-token permanents of the chosen color they have at the beginning of your upkeep. Destroy unless you sacrifice 2 islands. Don't think so. Reflecting Mirror, Riptide. No. No. Scarecrow for anything. Bandits, or the Hag. Skull of Orm, no. Never Sorrow's Path, don't need Stone Calendar. No. No, and no. Okay. Dark. On to the Lord of the Rings. Alright, Frodo, what have you got for me? Whenever equipped creature attacks, create 2 tap 1/1 white spirit creature tokens. That creature is legendary. Instead, create 2 that are tapped and attacking. Whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. 6 mana scry 2. Legendary creatures I control. Can't run Barad-dûr. Barrowblade. Tap enchanted creature. Move a 1/1 counter from it instead if you do untap it. No. Bilbo's Ring. As long as it's your turn, equipped creature has hexproof and can't be blocked. Whenever equipped creature attacks alone, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Equip to Halfling for 1, and equip 4. So it equips for 1 on anything I've done the trick to. I'm looking at Bill because of the whole give my opponent a horse thing. But I don't think so. Like, we don't have things we want to give away or, like, useless creatures that we're putting the counters onto just to get more things. So, I can't imagine that's good. Bilbo's Ring is a tiny bit tempting, though. As long as it's your turn, equipped creature has hexproof, can't be blocked. When it attacks alone, I draw a card and lose a life. So, if I put this on Omo once she has her own everything counter on, she's unblockable, and she gets to keep doing her thing, and I'm getting to basically have my own Phyrexian arena while I'm doing this. Alright, so this isn't actually from the main set, though. This is from the, like, little box set thing. I think kind of puts it down here. Yeah, it's from the starter, like 2-player starter kit. 3 for an artifact. Alright. Yeah, we don't need Bill, don't need Birthday Escape. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 hexproof. The ring tempts me. No. Brandywine Farmer enters or leaves the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you attack with 1 or more elves, scry 1. Whenever you scry, gets +1/+1 for each card you looked at while scrying this way. If it let me scry more based on the number of elves I had. This is Deliberation. No. Receive the Messenger. No. Although the Amass Orcs does allow me to put counters on my things that have the everything counter on them. But I can never actually make the token because of that. Because I will always have an army to put counters on. And then there would also be orcs. Don't need Delighted Halfling. Dreadful as the Storm, no. If you don't control Ring Bearer, the ring tempts you. No. A food token. If you sacrifice the food, you may search your library for a basic land. No. Or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry one. If this is the second time this ability is resolved this turn, the ring tempts you. Whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of cards you looked at while scrying. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it becomes a target of spell or ability opponent controls, you may draw a card. Look at the top card any time. Cast creature spells from the top of my library. Creatures I control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Do I need another one of these? Do I need this one more than some of the other ones? I think the answer to both of those is no. Like, would I rather have this over the Vizier of the Menagerie? I don't think so. Would I rather have it over the what's the one from Midnight Hunt that lets me play lands, and then if I have Covenant lets me play creatures? Like, I forget her name or her title, but I think I would rather have her also. So yeah, I don't think I actually need Elven Chorus. Elven Farsight, no. Elvish Mariner, no. Rage Horn, don't. Basin. Interest Restoration. Sacrifice a land, search your library for 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. I don't think so. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control if its power is 4 or greater, then it gets +1/+1 until end of turn and fights target creature you don't control. Try 2 1/1 counters, target creature gains, dies, draw 2 cards, then that creature fights. Tree folk I control have vigilance. Whenever one or more tree folk attack, add twice that much green mana. I don't lose unspent green mana. He is a 7 mana 4/10, 3 of it green. Tree folk I control have vigilance. They attack, I add twice that much green mana. I don't lose unspent mana. Yeah, I don't think I care enough for the creature type matters aspect of Omo, and I don't need this for the Eldrazi mana ramp version where the land types matter more. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't need the bow. Guide. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you chose a creature other than Galadriel as your ring bearer, scry 3. Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Enters the battlefield or attacks, choose 1/1 counter on target creature, food token, treasure token. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you chose another creature, draw a card. Ent. Lamdring, no. Glorfindel. Choose 1 and Glorfindel gets +1/+1. Yeah, I'm not really scrying that much, so I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think we need Goldberry. Like, I'm looking at her, because she has to drain all of the counters that she doesn't have on her off of the one thing and onto her, and then we can move one or more of the counters off of her. So if she were to target something with the everything counter that also randomly had a +1/+1 counter or something, she has to suck that +1/+1 counter off of it also. Can't just leave it there. Then we would have to spend time moving it back if we needed it on the one thing. I don't know. Seems kind of medium. I do like being able to move the counters around, but she takes 2 turns to properly move it. She does make herself everything while it's on her, though, so that's not the worst. Do I want the Horn of Gondor at all? So we can turn all of our other things into humans over time, but that also means that we'll almost always have at least one human in play. So this thing will keep making new tokens. Like, even if the board gets wrathed, we replay our commander, we give her the counter. Horn then has a human in play to make a human with. So we can always rebuild with it. I don't know that that's good enough, though. It's kind of medium, honestly. Like, 3 tap make a 1/1 is not where I want to be. 3 tap make 3 or more 1/1s is alright, though, and it doesn't take a lot for it to get there. It literally takes 1 activation after recovering from the Wrath, so maybe. Alright, so we need to go back up to the actual Lord of the Rings set now. No, not Lord of Atlantis. There we go. Lord. Alright, Horn of Gondor. It's 3 for an artifact. Alright, we'll consider at least. Scry 1, the ring tempts me. No, thank you. Untap another target permanent. Untap 2 other target legendary creatures. Yeah, I don't think we need her. Still looking for like a blue and 1 untap target permanent type thing. It's repeatable rather than like the 3 mana that most of them are. Target creature into its owner's library, second from the top. No. Draws a card. Whenever you draw your second card, put a 1/1 counter on it. No. Draw cards equal Gray's toughness among creatures you control, then put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't need to draw 13 and put the other Eldrazi into play if I already have Emrakul. Ooh, excuse me, that seems a bit extreme. Hilarious, but a bit extreme. If I was going to give them all haste and attack with them immediately, maybe. That's not really what this deck does. Might be able to give 1 or 2 of them haste, but... whenever you scry, if it's tapped, you may untap it. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. Creature opponent controls dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. Whenever you cast a spell that targets it, 1/1 counter on it. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you don't control, no. Umba spread, long list of the Ents, no. Draw 3 cards, island cycling. Put a verse counter on it. Draw a card for each verse counter on it. If it had 7 or more, take an extra turn after this one. Nope. Partings. No. Deals combat damage to a player. Exile up to 1 target creature you own, then return to the battlefield under your control. Don't need Mary. Powers equal number of cards in your hand. Attacks, you may tap any number of untapped humans you control. Draw a card for each human tapped this way. Eh. Yeah, I'm not really feeling that one. Target elf you control gains trample and +X, where X is the number of forests you control. It's a 4 mana 3/3. Yeah. Still feel like we can do better as far as creature type matters. It is nice that it's paying me off for turning all of my things into forests while we're at it. So, okay, now you're an elf, and I've made this thing a forest. So now I have, like, 5 forests, and I have 5 different elves to choose from. But for the most part, I don't think so. Don't need Mithril Coat. Mushroom Dogs. Scry 1 gets +1+... Oh, whenever you scry, gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. No, don't need the Palantir. Only cast an instant or sorcery spell. Nope. One or more tokens will be created under your control. Those tokens plus an additional food. Sacrifice 3 foods, draw a card. Nope. File, Pippin's Bravery. Return target spell or non-land permanent opponent controls to its owner's hand. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell. No. Or another tree folk enters the battlefield. Yeah, they're not tree folk on entering. Or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. You may reveal a creature card that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control. Yeah, no. I was waiting for that part. I couldn't remember if he was worded in a way where this was the best or the worst, and it is the worst. For as long as you control Rangers of Illithin, Ithilien, and the ring tempts you. Revive the Shire. No. Unless you control a legendary creature. Activate only if you control a legendary creature. No. Saruman the White. Cast your second spell each turn. A mask works 2. Yeah, it's not quite good enough. Don't need its trickery. In control of up to 1 target artifact for as long as you control the scroll. The ring tempts you. Tap up to 2 target creatures and stun them. Draw a card for each tapped creature target opponent controls. Terrace, don't need the shortcut, I don't think. No. Pair of Arrows, Soothing Smeagol. Scolding, Stew, Sting. I don't think so. Don't need the stone. Cast your second spell each turn. Copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. You may choose new targets for the copy. We're casting a lot of big, expensive spells. I don't really feel like we're in the best place to Storm of Saruman. Until you reveal X land cards, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Yeah, I don't think so. Bath Song, Grey Havens, the One Ring. I'm sure we'll be fine without it. Enters the battlefield tapped with 9 stun counters on it. Whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. Whenever a tentacle you control dies, untap up to 1 target Kraken and put a stun counter on up to 1 target non-land permanent. Boots, don't need the Treason. Willow Wind, Wizard's Rockets, and Woe's Pathfinder. Okay. And now we go to Scryfall, because I know the Lord of the Rings set does not work properly. So we want blue, we want green, and Tales of Middle-earth Commander. There we go. Set number... Oh, right, we have all these Will of the Council and Secret Council things. Alright, beginning of combat on your turn. If another elf entered the battlefield under your control this turn, starting with you, each player votes for Dominion or Guidance. If Dominion gets more votes, the ring tempts you, then you put a 1/1 counter on the ring bearer. If Guidance gets more votes or is tied, draw a card. What happens if the creature wasn't an elf when it entered the battlefield, but it is an elf now when it entered the battlefield this turn? Yeah, it doesn't say. I have to imagine it has to be an elf when it enters the battlefield. In order for her to trigger, I don't think it works if you change the creature type later on to have been an elf. It's like, okay, this creature is an elf and it did enter the battlefield this turn, so I don't 100% know how that works, but I don't think it works the way I want it to. With mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. If any of those cards share a card type with that spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and each opponent draws a card, otherwise you draw a card. Commander deals combat damage to a player. If there is no monarch, you become the monarch. I don't need to be the monarch. Target goblin, orc, or pirate can't be blocked this turn. Deals combat damage to a player, amass orcs 3. So it's a 4 mana 3/3 that can spend 3 mana to make my creature unblockable. And when it does, it gets 3/1. So we can turn this into an orc or into an army, and then more accurately, and then we amass 3. So then it's a 6/6, and it just keeps doing that, but we have to sink 3 mana into it each turn. And it can do that for other creatures too. The fact that I can do it for other creatures too means we can grow one thing giant and make them kill the Corsairs. Maybe. Maybe that's worth it. The fact that it will grow the thing I'm making unblockable... Oh no, wait. It has to deal the damage, so I would have to make it unblockable and the other thing unblockable, right? Because Corsairs has to deal combat damage. I mean, it's still fine, but it's very mana intensive. Okay, I will consider it, but I don't think it's the best. So this is... Their name is Corsair. Corsair. Plural. Of Umbar. Is 3 in a blue. 3 in a blue for a human pirate. 3/3. There we go. All better. Chant creature enters the battlefield, become the monarch. I don't want to be the monarch. Stop making me the monarch. Monstrosity of the Lake. Enters the battlefield, you may pay 5. If you do, tap all creatures your opponents control, then put a stun counter on each of those creatures. As island cycling. So it's 10 mana for a 4/6 that taps everything and stuns it. Choose a creature type, return all creatures that aren't of the chosen type to their owner's hands. So, I'd be fine. I don't know that I need a lopsided Sunder. Evacuation. Sunder is the land one. Gain control of each non-commander creature with mana value 3 or less. No. Player secretly votes for a creature you don't control, then those votes are revealed. For each creature with 1 or more votes, put that many stun counters on it, then tap it. Enters the battlefield with a number of additional 1/1 counters on it equal to Arwen's toughness. Have reach. Sacrifice, assemble the Entmoot. Create 3 tapped XX green tree folk tokens where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. Put a reach counter on each of them. Block it. No. Create X 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens where X is the number of attacking creatures. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by non-elves. Enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. Has vigilance. Other elves you control gain vigilance and +1/+1 for each 1/1 counter on Haldir. A creature enters the battlefield under your control. Put a 1/1 counter on Legolas. Or Legolas deals combat damage to a player. Draw a card. Turn target elf from your graveyard to your hand. Gain life equal to that card's power. No. Attacks. Attacking creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. If a food entered the battlefield under your control this turn, untap those creatures and they get another +2/+2. Rise Peg is the life gain mana dork. Starting with you, each player votes for the pass or the mines. Search through your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Return a card from your graveyard to your hand and then exile. No. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Create a number of 1/1 green elf warrior tokens equal to the overkill damage. Excess damage. Excess damage is the actual term they use. Secret Council enters the battlefield or attacks. Each player secretly votes for a player. Then those votes are revealed. Each player draws a card for each vote they received. Each player who received no votes may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. Nope. Elrond of the White Council enters the battlefield. Each player secretly votes for fellowship or aid. For each fellowship vote, the voter chooses a creature they control. You gain control of each creature chosen this way, and they gain... for each creature chosen this way. You gain control of each creature chosen this way, and they gain this creature can attack its owner. Then for each vote for aid, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Okay, so I steal their stuff can attack them, and the other votes give all my guys 1/1 counters. Yeah, I don't think so. Players finish voting. Each opponent who voted for a choice you voted for creates a treasure token. You scry X, where X is the number of opponents who voted for a choice you didn't vote for. Draw a card. Whenever a player attacks you, target attacking creature gets -2, -0. Whenever a player attacks, if they aren't attacking you, that player chooses an attacking creature to give it +2/+0. Ward 1, beasts and birds you control have Ward 1. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, get a 3/3 beast or a 2/2 flying bird. Sail into the West is the weird Wheel of Fortune thing, or Time Twister, one of those things. It's actually a Wheel of Fortune, weirdly enough, even though it's in blue and green. If return gets more votes, each player returns up to 2 cards from their graveyard to their hand, then exiles Sail into the West. Scry 2, draw 2, create a treasure and a 2/2 blue bird. Put a flying counter on each creature you control without flying. It's a monarchy card. Target creature defending player controls. We had a bunch of Death Touch creatures, maybe. But this seems like it's way too much effort. Because a lot of my creatures are kind of on the small side if I'm not running the Eldrazi. If I am, I really don't need them to smite that creature in particular 99% of the time. I can just get by with murdering the opponent behind them. Annihilating all of their stuff. Alright. Now we have to find the cards from the Panorama set. There we go. So So, Narsil Reforge has Ascend. Equip creature attacks, put a 1/1 count on each creature you control. You have the City's Blessing, put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Instead, untap target creature until end of turn. It gains Hexproof, Reach, and whenever this creature becomes tapped, it deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature. Boreal Alliance enters the battlefield, create an XX green tree folk. Whenever you attack with 1 or more elves, populate. I don't know that I have enough creature tokens to want that. Rally the Galadrim. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control and conspire. Replicate, return target non-land permanent and each other non-land permanent with the same mana value as that permanent to their owner's hands. Squad, other elves you control get +1/+1. If we're doing the creature type matters, realistically, how many times could I squad the brigade? Like 2, I want to say. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, and 3 of it green. I guess with the creature type matters, I'll have a bit more consistency in the colored mana I can produce. So 4 might actually be the max, and that's like 11 mana, so yeah, it's probably 3. 3 would be 9 mana. I think that's realistic as like the top end of what this card can do. So it's probably going to be for 2 most of the time, or even 1. So give all my... It would give... They would both be 3/3s, and they would give all my other elves +2/+2. Target opponent mills 9 cards, and you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from that player's graveyard. Without paying its mana cost, if the spell would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. Alright, 5 mana to cast. 3 to equip, gives Menace, Death Touch, and Annihilator 1. And we steal the things they sacrifice, unless they pay life. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. I was thinking about the Arboreal Alliance because we'll make the Tree Folk token at least, and then our other creatures can let us populate, but it still seems very medium, if I'm being completely honest, with what we have. Alright, so that was the Lord of the Rings. Oops. Not quite there yet, so that was both of them, so that brings us to the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, except we're at 58 minutes, so I think we can call it there. Alright, I was really hoping, because Tales of Middle-earth has a bunch of Creature Type Matters cards, in addition to the Legend Matters cards, but we didn't really see any that would benefit us if we turned all of our things into those creatures. Maybe like 1 or 2, but that's it. Yeah, we got like the Corsairs, and I have the Lord of the Rings up here because of the release order. I do. Yeah, we only got the Horn of Gondor for caring about humans. Alright, so that'll do it for me for right now, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.